Hey guys, my name is Justine, and today I'm going to teach you guys how to do that bodice part for the sweater that everyone's asking me a pattern for, that I don't have a written pattern. Basically, you're learning the top portion here of the sweater, how to do, it's a raglan style, so there's no seaming, there's no sewing, it's none of that crap. So, it's just a basic cardigan. You can do these by learning, or you can do something a little more fancy, like a baby matinee coat. It's just up to you. Once you learn the basics, you know, just a basic double crochet stitch going around, you can add your own flair, maybe do a little bit of stitching like this, and shells on the bottom. It's up to you, and the possibilities are endless. So, what I always start doing is I take a onesie of the size that I'm trying to create the sweater for. Whoa, sorry. And my son just said don't drop it. Okay. So what I always start to do is I take the size of the onesie that I'm trying to make the sweater for, and I'm going to work around this so you guys can see how it's made. For this one, it really doesn't matter. I usually prefer the H hook, but I will use the I hook if I'm using like the Karen 1 pound or whatever. But if I'm using the cotton, I generally use an H hook. Now this is, gauge is not important to me because I know how to add. So what I'm going to tell you guys is to work with this. If what I'm doing, and if you have a onesie to use, or baby, if what I'm doing makes yours a little too small, then add a stitch or go up in hook size. So if you crochet tightly, I would use an I hook. If you crochet very loose, you might have to use a G, but an H should be good. I'm not a loose crocheter, but I crochet with a little bit of slack, so things are a lot more stretchy. Okay, so your first step is to chain 38. 38 is basically going to give you just the 5 here in the front, your turning chain, the 8 in the sleeve, your next turning chain, the 12 as your back, your next turning chain, the 8 here in this sleeve, your turning chain, and the next 5. So let me explain this to you. The 5 represents this front portion. Now if you're making your own pattern, and let's say you have a onesie that's smaller, and you only were going to make 4 here, you do 4, your turning chain. Your sleeves are going to vary. I usually do 8 as my sleeve, which makes it a little bit more snug at the shoulder. But if you want it a little bit more loose, you could do 9. And if I do newborn, sometimes I do 7 here. It just really depends on the look and also just the length around the shoulder. The back portion, you're going to do whatever your half side, whatever this is. So 5 times 2, 10, plus 2, 12, because you want to leave a little bit of a gap, like you see here, for the button band. Because when you do crochet the button band later, it's going to take up some space, you know? Okay. So, you're going to do 5 double crochet. Oh, I'm sorry. Once you do the chain 38, you're going to add 2. Why are you adding 2? Because you got to do the first double crochet. So, you add 2. And you're going to double crochet into the 3rd chain of your row of chains. The 3rd chain. So, you're going to double crochet in the 3rd chain. That'll be 1. So, this is it right here. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 double crochets. So you do 5 double crochets, include that one as 1. Once you get to the next, you're going to do 2 double crochets into that next chain. This is going to represent the turning chain, and it's going to give you this kind of like angle look, which is perfect. This is what you want. Then you're going to double crochet 8 for the sleeve. Remember, if you added more to make this looser, then just make sure you do the right amount. So 8. In the next chain, you're going to do 2 double crochets, which is going to give you the next turning. Then my back was 12, so 12 double crochets in the back, then a turning chain, then 8 double crochets, then a turning chain, then my final 5. Simple. To continue working this into a bigger sweater, you're gonna go ahead and chain 2, go ahead and turn, double crochet into that first one as well as the next 5. So you're gonna have a total of 6 at this point. Right. Which means you're also crocheting into the crochet that is part of the V-stitch or the turning chain from before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So then you're gonna crochet into the V2. You're gonna make another turning. So you're gonna do 2 double crochets in the middle of the of the previous 2 double crochets, like so. So this was my V right here. I've crocheted 2 into the V, and you're gonna just crochet into the next one that was also part of the V from the previous row, and you're gonna crochet all the way to the next V, doing the same thing all around. So now what's going to happen is you're just going to keep doing this same process until you get to the point where your bodice measures up to whatever you're measuring it to, whatever onesie size you may be using. So I'm going to show you right now. This is the second row right here. And as you see, we've kind of formed like the collar portion, whatever. And you're just going to keep doing this until you get here. And that's where I'm going to forward to. If you need to ask me for anything in between there, that's fine. But I'm just going to forward to this part. Okay. Okay, guys. As you can see, I've gotten to the point where my top of the bodice is just big enough to go from the shoulder here to the sleeve to the armpit, which is actually what you're going to do in the next. You're going to actually make this the sleeve. You see, you've now made a sleeve. It's not square looking. It has that nice angled look. This part is what it should look like at this point. For me, using the H hook, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rows that it took for me to get to this point. It may take you one more, it may take you one less. It just depends on how you crochet. But your whole thing should look like this. I'm going to try to show you. So this is your front, right? Now remember, it's going to kind of be a little odd. It's going to be a little shaped. Okay, here we go. Alright, so it should look kind of like this. As you see, this is your back piece. These are your sleeves. And these are your 2 front pieces. For this next row, we're going to be joining the turning chains so that you're just going to have your front and back, and you're going to work that around and around and around, or back and forth until you're done, and you work your sleeves later. So for the next row, we are going to, of course, do the chain 2, do your turn, and you're going to double crochet up to your turning chain. You're going to include that first double crochet like we've been doing of the V-stitch from the previous row. So just keep going. Sorry, I'm trying to crochet pretty slow so I can give the illusion of what I'm doing. It's kind of hard when you're so used to doing it. Okay. So now, this is where my first turning chain is, right here. So like I said, I'm going to include the first double crochet of that turning chain, or that V-stitch, whatever you want to call it, from the previous row. Now I'm going to take the other side and I'm going to fold it like this, like when I was showing you it flat. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to make a double crochet into the V-stitch on this side, through the V-stitch on the opposite side. So you see the sleeve has now been formed. I'm looking at it like this from shoulder. It's kind of hard with this. All right. So you're looking at it like this, and your V is here. This is the top portion. So your V is here. You're double crocheting into those two V stitches. So you're just going to go ahead and double crochet into the V stitch, just like so. Now, look at this. You've created your sleeve portion. You have your front, you have your back, and now you're just going to crochet along to the next V stitch. And just keep going, keep going. I'm dropping everything now too. Okay. So here we go. Almost there. Like I said, just as long as you don't skip any stitches, you're going to be fine. As long as you've done those V stitches and all the previous rows, you're fine. But if you had not V stitched where you were supposed to, it's not going to come out right. And you would have to redo it. And my son is watching Super Y. All right. Thank you, Ryan. Good job. Okay, so once you get to this next V-stitch, you're going to do the same exact thing. Remember, you're going to double crochet into the first double crochet of that last V-stitch from the previous round or the previous row. And then you're going to double crochet into and through the other side. The other V-stitch from the other side right here. You're going to do this, and I'm going to give you a little close-up so you see what I'm doing. So you see how I've joined these two together to make this sleeve here. You're going to do the double crochet right between those two places to join it, and that's what you've done to create the sleeve. Alright. So then you're just going to crochet along to the end of this row. Just like this. Just crochet all the way. Okay, now I'm going to show you how this actually lays flat, and you'll see the separation of the sleeves, the back, the front. I'm going to show you that right now. Sorry. Okay. So, as you see, you've started the top of the sweater. Again, you have your front and you have your sleeve. That's now been separated here. Super easy. Like I said, you're not sewing. It's ridiculous. I can't stand sewing, crochet and or knitting. I hate doing it. So there you go. That's the top of your bodice. Once you understand this part, you can make different stitches here. You can do clusters or popcorn, whatever. At this point, you will now just be crocheting back and forth, and you will only be doing this. The sleeves are obviously binded off, or however you want to say. They're no longer a part of this portion that you're crocheting back and forth. So you would just be crocheting this part back and forth. You could do a shell stitch like in this white one. As you see, once I got to the point where I cut off the sleeve, or where I bound off the sleeve, I just went in a simple shell stitch over and over and over again until I got to the length of the onesie, which I'll show you. So the onesie is here. And it's a matinee, so I like it to hit just around the butt part of the baby. Okay, well, that's the simple part. You just do that. If you want to do a straight down cardigan, you just go back and forth in double crochets or half double crochets, single crochets, whatever you were doing, whatever you want, I guess. And then once you get to the bottom part, you could go ahead and crochet around the whole sweater. For the button band, I'll just go ahead and show you what I mean. Let's say this is the end of the sweater. I've now crocheted all the way down to the bottom, and I want to do my button band. Usually I do one single crochet all the way around, one single crochet row all the way around before I do the button band row, and then I do a single crochet row on top of the button band row, because it gives it that this look. Now this one I didn't do buttonholes because I did the snap closures. I mean, if you're going to do the snap closures, you could just do 2 or 3 rows of single crochet. Otherwise, go ahead and go all the way around your whole sweater once, just regular single crochet, and then you can come back and figure out where you're going to place your buttons, how big they are, whatever, and do button bands, or do buttonholes. Buttons, yeah. Okay, now to do the sleeve, super easy. To do the sleeve, you're just going to take, and I'm just going to use the same because I don't want to break this yarn. I'm not really going to do this sweater. To do the sleeve, you're going to go ahead and go, now I'm trying to figure out how to face this to make this the easiest. Okay, so this is the bottom of my sweater. This is the top. You take to the point where you joined, right here, those 2 V-stitches that you joined, and you're just going to, you're just going to slip stitch there, and then go ahead and chain 2 if you're doing double crochet, obviously, and you're just going to double crochet around, then join or slip stitch to this first one, then you'll double crochet around, and you'll double crochet around and double crochet around and double crochet around until you get to your sleeve length. So my son's telling me to be quiet.
What are you making?
A sweater.
What?
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah, okay. So you just keep doing that. And that's it. Once you get to your sleeve length, you can do whatever you want. If you want to make your sleeves like this, where they're a tighter but somewhat stretchy sleeve, I suggest doing, when you get to this part, a single crochet 2 together, single crochet 2 together, single crochet all the way around, and then 2 to 3 just rows of, or rounds of just single crochet to give it this nice little look. And then after that, you're all done. I'd obviously love to see your project, so if you guys do get this, if you don't get it, ask me whatever you need to ask me, and of course I'm going to try to help you. It's hard to do a whole sweater in one sitting when I don't have an idea of what I'm doing, but if you have any questions, just ask me. Leave it in the comments, or you can private message me on Facebook.
Yeah.
if you're part of the Crochet Addict group.
You do?
And that's it.
You like
Thank you. Bye-bye.